So this is my axolotl Fritzy. Fritzy has been spending the last week or so floating bottom up in his tank. His tank's about 150 litres, although it's relatively shallow, as axolotls do like their water quite shallow, not too shallow though. So he's been fridged, and he's been fridged for coming up for 24 hours now. So I've just pulled him out of the fridge and took him down to about 5 degrees, which I think did the trick, because as you can see, he's had lots of poos. So I'm hoping that that has sorted out this impacting problem, which has caused him to float. It's difficult to see in the tank if he's had any poos. One, because the tank's so big, and two, because there's quite a lot in it in sense of lots of pebbles and stones. Although it's important to note that his substrate is fine sand. He doesn't, when I talk about pebbles and stones, I'm talking about pebbles and stones that are bigger than a chicken's egg. So there's no reason why he should be impacted. And actually, if you were to look in here, you can see there are no stones or anything like that. It is basically poo. But he seems a little bit happier. His back legs are still raised ever so slightly, but nowhere near as much. Even in this shallow water, his bottom was raised a little. But yeah, he seems relatively happy. He's never had any problems eating, despite floating bottom up, and he's just had a nice juicy worm this morning after 3 or 4 days of fasting. So what I'm going to do now is going to leave him here. I'm going to cover him back up, and I'm going to let the water temperature rise slightly. As you can see, it's coming up now, not quite 10 degrees yet. So I'm going to get it to about 14, 16 degrees, probably 16 degrees, which is the temperature of his tank. But if you do have an axolotl that likes to float bottom up, chances are is impacted, and given that this is 24 hours, it's a lot of poo. So I think the fridging did him a world of good, and I'm quite pleased really, because I really don't like leaving him in there. No. Although he's quite happy. He's quite happy. So I'm going to cover him up now, and then we'll have more adventures from Fritz later on.